Hey everybody, it's DJ2, and welcome to another My Little Pony Discussions. Today we're going to talk about Through the Door, Part 1 and 2. And we are getting toward the end of T1. Because next up we'll be doing Disc 4 of the discs that we have. Anyway, we'll talk about, so here, the episode begins with North Star Paradise looking at this huge door, and it's called the Door Legends. Now, apparently, there is behind the door. Actually, behind the door is a bunch of legendary characters. Um, and the reason why this door is there is there's a monster that was sealed away in it, and we'll talk about that monster in a bit in part two. Um, so they warn North Star, don't open the door because they never know. But she opens it anyway. And she just opens it, then just closes it again. But as she closes the door, it opens again, and a arrow whizzes right past her. Yeah. And it's Robin Hood who shot the arrow. And then we get to see other characters. Paul Bunyan, Aladdin, um, Paul, Hercules, Shahrazad, and what's the other guy? There's one more. Oh, Prince Charming. Which I'm going to talk about one of the things I do not like about this episode here in a minute. And they're all running from this giant monster who they obviously trying to keep in there. So they basically take their new friends to Paradise Estate. Meanwhile, we are introduced to now we're not introduced, but we're told Heartthrob's um obsession with humans. I'm not kidding. Why not a pony like you are? That's my one complaint about this episode. They say there's a sensitive future. Again, I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but go with the whole species. So they meet Prince Charming, who starts seeing that he's been looking all over for Heartthrob. But guess what else he looks at? Buttons. Yeah, he is a womanizer. Why? Why is that a thing in Model Pony? Why is it a thing that let ponies like humans love humans? Why? I don't get that. Anyway, we turn our attention to Hercules, who's cleaning up Paradise Estate. And he's, dusting everything. And also, we get to see Robin Hood show off his skills to North Star. Meanwhile, Scheherazade is showing off for dance moves to the baby ponies. And, of course, um, Aladdin lends his lamp to Lickety Split and the others. They rub the lamp, and obviously it's a magic lamp, not a regular lamp. And the genie pops out and asks Lickety Split her one of her three wishes. And she asks for a perfect day. Now, I don't know what they were thinking with this genie, why didn't they just give him, you know, the team from Milan? Anyway, we did turn our attention to Heartthrob, who has inadvertently opened the door to Legends. And guess who comes out? The monster, which in part one. Part two, the monster is coming out, and Heartthrob, obviously keeps looking for him. So, keeps looking for Prince Charming. We need to turn our attention back to Prince Charming, who's again charming other ponies. Again, why? And he sees he's got a wrinkle. Obviously, they they are starting to lose their magic because they're not in the land of legends. We then cut to Robin Hood, who is showing North Star how to shoot an arrow, and he misses his bullseye. Yeah. Then we turn our attention to the Licky Split and the others and the genie, who's still trying to figure out what Licky Split means by perfect day. And it is just so stupid. Just give her a cloudless day, nothing special. And then she decides to change the wish. I don't know how that works, but we get it. And so she changes the wish into ice cream. Obviously, she likes ice cream. So again, he has to make it so convoluted. And she has, and then Whistler finally explains him what Lickety Split meant. Finally, he conjures up ice cream. It disappears like after a few minutes after. He even says that it's supposed to last it was supposed to last until she ate it. Meanwhile, Hercules is still cleaning and he loses his strength. And of course, Scheherazade is still teaching the big boys how to dance, but they are chased by the monster. Meanwhile, we turn our attention to Megan, who we have not seen since the last episode. And she's looking in the books, and all the books are gone. All the pages are blank. And apparently, Paradise goes and talks to Megan, who and tells him exactly what's going on, and she realizes that something's going on, and yeah, she sees all the characters from the books. But then, of course, the monster, which is a big dragon, by the way, is seen, and he's chasing them, and finally, someone puts him in his place, and he starts crying, and the characters of legend decide that they don't want to go back because he's there. But then Heartthrob comes by and sees that everybody's losing their magic, including Prince Charming, and he she says your place is falling apart, and they go to Door Legend, and of course everything's falling apart outside as well. So they decide to go into the door, but they don't want the monster or the dragon to go with them. And he starts singing, I was born to be a monster, which is a good song, I gotta say. And he explains that what would heroes do without a monster? I mean, you got ogres, you've got uh You got giants. I mean, think about it. If the heroes had won the fight, what's it worth? So they decided to let the monster go back with them, and they close the door after they, enter back in. But Robin Hood tells them they'll always be with them. And they look when they get back to Paradise Estate, they see the back of books, and they say, yeah, it's like Robin Hood said, they'll always be there with them. All right, next time we're moving on to disc 4 of with um, the quest of the Princess Ponies. Now, I'm going to say this right now. The fourth disc starts out with Rescue from Midnight Castle, but since we talked about that at the beginning of the episode of the discussions, we're not going to talk about it again because what's the point? Anyway, we'll be doing the Quest of the Princess Ponies, which is a 4-part episode. So we'll be doing parts 1 and 2 first, and then parts 3 and 4. Like, comment, subscribe, share. I'll see you guys on our next video.